This video was made possible thanks to the EA Creator Network. Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our first speed build with the new For Rent expansion pack. I am so sorry it's taken me so long to finally get a speed build out. I know I've done a kind of like almost tutorial about how the actual apartment system works, which a lot of people have told me has been really helpful. So yeah, I will leave that linked in the description if you want to check that out. And I've done a world overview, but I haven't done any speed builds, which if you've been on the channel for a while, I know there are a lot of new people recently, but any of my like more longer time viewers will know that that is really weird for me. Usually when I have early access or when I get a new pack, the first thing that I do and that I post is usually a speed build, because that's just the thing that I'm most excited about for every new pack. So not having done one yet feels very, very odd. But we are finally doing a speed build, and we're actually doing quite a big one. We're building on a 40 by 30 lot. This is the biggest lot in the new world, and I believe it's called Rockside. I think that's the name of the lot, and I'm probably going to mispronounce everything. But yeah, so we're building on the biggest lot in the world, and I do have a little bit of a story for why that is, which I will get to in a second. But I also do just want to say, right off the bat, I know you probably already saw the disclaimer at the beginning of this being, you know, like an early access version of, you know, thanking the Creator Network for making it possible, you know, all of that stuff. But I do also want to mention, and I did mention this in my other two videos, that this is a special early version of the game. It is not my normal game. It's not, you know, just the new pack in my normal game like regular early access is. This is a totally separate version of the game. It is like, it's basically an alpha, not really, yeah, kind of like almost like an alpha build of the game that they added to my library. It only has the new pack and the base game, and that is also why you will see my name floating around on the screen. I know it can be a little bit disorienting if you're not used to it, but it actually is in the game. Like, I see it whenever I open the game. It's actually in there. I stare at it myself. And at this point, I've kind of gotten so used to it that I don't even notice it anymore. But I know that in videos, especially sped up ones, it can be a little bit disorienting for some people. So I do apologize about that. Hopefully it's not too noticeable. But yeah, so that's the first thing. And then the other thing is that it's not final software. So yeah, it's not final software. So if you notice any bugs or any weirdness, then, you know, it's not the final version of the game. A lot of the bugs, they've actually said a lot of the bugs that we have actually like brought to their attention during this early access period, they are working on. They are actually already aware of a lot of them, and they are planning on putting up like a kind of like a bug fix thing, like at the time when the pack comes out, like on the day that the pack comes out. So hopefully a lot of like the bigger bugs that were bothering us a lot will actually be fixed by then. So yeah, just a little heads up, not final software, all of that fun stuff. You know, thank you to the Creator Network again for allowing me to be part of this early access. And yeah, like I said, it's not normal early access where I have access to my own game. Like, this isn't my game. I don't have my mods, I don't have my reshade, I don't have the other packs or anything like that. So this build itself is only the base game and the new pack as well. So yeah, it's really, really nice. It's going to make it really easy for you guys to download it eventually once the pack is out and you have it. So yeah, just a little heads up about that. And also another heads up, which I always mention, and luckily I've never had an issue with it, but I always feel the need to just mention it, is I won't be able to save this build to my library myself. Like, we don't have access to the library in this build of the game. And so I can't like save it to my library and just upload it when I have the pack, or like save the tray files and put it in my game when I have the pack. So I'm actually going to have to like keep the save files and put them in my game when I have the pack, and hope that they will work. So far, cross my fingers, like touch wood, they've always ended up working in the past when I've done that, when I've had to do that, and I've been able to access, you know, all of the builds that I did and, you know, all of that stuff to upload them. Hopefully, like I said, it will work that way this time as well. I won't run into any issues. So, you know, cross my fingers that the next time I get access to the pack, I will be able to upload this build to the gallery for you guys. If I cannot, and if I run into some sort of issue with the save files, then I'm not going to rebuild this. There is just no way. I have so many other build ideas that I want to get to. I don't want to spend another like 4.5, 5 hours, which is how long it took me to build this in the first place, rebuilding it just based on the footage that I have, because I don't have really like any screenshots or anything like that. So yeah, having to go back and rewatch this footage would be a nightmare for me. But you guys, if I don't end up like uploading this to the gallery for some weird reason, feel free to rebuild it. Like, I'm not gonna mind, like, go ahead. But yeah, I'm not gonna do it if that ends up being the case. But hopefully it won't. Hopefully, you know, like I said, cross my fingers, I won't run into any issues. I cannot speak. And once it is up on the gallery, I will of course add the gallery link to the description. I'll upload the tray files, all of that fun stuff. I'm probably not going to do early access for the tray files like I normally would. Normally I would upload the tray files right as the video goes out and have them available for channel members, and then in 3 weeks they would go up for everyone on my Tumblr. But because this is early access and because this is technically coming out before the pack even releases, I'm just not going to do that. I don't feel the need to do that. So yeah, it's the tray files, all of that stuff will be out as soon as the pack is out. But yeah, so this, like I mentioned, is only base game and the new pack. So I tried to make the build blend in with the world as best as I could. Now, this is definitely a world and a build style that I am not familiar with, like, at all. This whole, like, Southeast Asian, you know, Philippines, you know, all of those areas, and, like, countries and architecture styles, there's a lot. Like, this world isn't technically based on a single country. It's based on a lot of, like, Southeast Asian countries. And off the top of my head, I cannot think of all of them. I know the team mentioned all of the countries and I just cannot remember them because it's been a few weeks since they mentioned that and my brain is like a goldfish. So yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But basically, I'm not familiar with a lot of this architecture style or builds like this, or, you know, any of that stuff. So a lot of what I did with the builds that I did were based, or like was based on taking inspiration from the lots surrounding where I was building. So this one, for example, I'm building in the Morensong area of the world. So this is kind of like the main busy town space. This lot, the Rockside, is actually really close to where the night market happens, and there's a lot of buildings around this area that kind of look like this, that kind of look like, you know, they would be shops on the first floor, and then the top 2 floors or 3 floors or whatever would be apartments, or, you know, stuff like this. Maybe like they're townhouses, and, you know, the family that lives there has a shop on the first floor, or, you know, maybe they're just townhouses and, you know, each townhouse is a separate house. You know, stuff like that. There's a lot of buildings in this area that look like this, so I definitely took inspiration from them. I took inspiration from them for having like the kind of like almost color block style, where, you know, each block is like almost a different color, and I have them like, some of them have, you know, the top 2 floors are a different color from the first floor, and I don't know, I had a lot of fun with this style, with this very like colorful, almost townhouse, but not really a townhouse kind of style. So much so that I'm actually working on another build that is also in this style, that is actually going to be townhouses. So it's only going to be 2 townhouses, but it's in a very similar style. and I probably won't have that finished, and I won't have that finished before I get the game in my normal game, because a lot of stuff has been going on the past couple of weeks for me IRL, with family stuff, and just it hasn't been nice, it hasn't been good, it's been very stressful, very sad, very just not great. And then this past weekend was actually a good weekend. I was very busy. It was basically insanity. If I spent 10 hours over the entire weekend at home, it would be a lot. I basically slept for maybe I don't know, 16 hours in the span of 4 days. So it's been a lot. I'm very tired. And yeah, I don't know, it's been a lot the past couple of weeks. Luckily, not all of it has been bad. I mean, we hit 10,000 subscribers on the channel, which was amazing, which is still amazing, and I've thanked you guys a few times for that. But yes, thank you very, very much. And just it's been good. Obviously having the pack, being able to do this, being able to be part of this opportunity has been amazing. Getting to see the pack and all of that stuff, and then just the whole hype around the pack itself and all of the ideas and stuff that I have has been so nice. I just wish that I physically felt better, or felt well enough to actually just sit down and do all of the stuff that I want to do, that I'm excited about. But any case, I don't want to complain too much. If you guys follow me over on Twitter, you already know a lot of this stuff. But getting back to this build, so basically my idea for this build was, I wanted to originally, the story that I have for why I'm building on this big ass lot, and I say big ass lot because I tend to not build on 40 by 30s. I don't tend to do buildings build on this size of a lot, especially not for early access stuff, because I don't want to spend 7 hours working on a build that I usually would when I'm building on a lot this big. I cannot speak. Jeez, why can I not speak? But basically, the idea that I originally had for this is I wanted to build on a 20 by 20 lot. There is a 20 by 20 lot in this exact area. It's not even far from here. I cannot remember the name of the lot off the top of my head, but I know I went over it in my world overview. And I was running into so many issues with that lot in particular. The entire lot basically was bugged out for me. And it wasn't just happening for me, it was happening for some other people as well. But like I said, keep in mind, it's not the final version of the game. So bugs and stuff like that, we all got kind of used to it, and we all know to expect them because it's not the finished version of the game. So yeah, I was just having a lot of issues with that lot, and basically at the point where I rebuilt my build I don't know, 3 times, 4 times or something like that, and my dog just started barking. Lord knows why, because it's almost 1 AM. But in any case, sorry if you guys hear him. But yeah, so basically, I ended up rebuilding what I was working on 3 or 4 times. And at that point, I just decided, you know what, screw it. I am not doing this again. And I was talking to, I believe it was Simmery. Yeah, I was talking to Simmery, and she also had issues with that exact lot. So that is kind of how we figured out, it was that lot being glitchy and not the whole game, just that lot that was bugging everything out. So basically, we talked about what we could do, all of that stuff, and I just decided that I'm not going to bother trying to finish that build. And rather than trying to squish it onto a smaller lot, because I really wanted to build in this specific neighborhood. I didn't want to build in the other neighborhood that was more not rural, but more naturey, if that makes sense. That wasn't as town center vibes. I didn't want to build there. And in this neighborhood where I'm currently in, there's only 2 bigger lots. There's 4 lots total, but there's this one, which is a 40 by 30. There's a 30 by 30 that's technically supposed to be the botanical garden. Then there's the 20 by 20 that was bugged out, and a 20 by 15. So I could either try and squish that lot onto a 20 by 15, which would not have worked because it already took up an entire 20 by 20. So I couldn't realistically make it smaller without basically changing the whole thing. Or I could just say, you know, like screw it and make it bigger and put it on a 40 by 30 or a 30 by 30. And I decided to go for this one because I didn't think it fit well with the surroundings on the 30 by 30 lot. But yeah, so that's why we're building on such a big lot. I obviously did have to make the build itself, like the building, the structure. I did make that quite a bit bigger than the original one was, which probably wasn't a good idea considering I spent maybe 4 or 5 hours on the first one, you know, scrapping it, rebuilding it, doing it all over again like 4 times. And then going in and building this, that took me another like 4, almost 5 hours. But in any case, I'm kind of glad that I did that because I really like the way this build turned out. And I really like the fact that I was able to actually fit in a kind of like community space outside with the pool and the bar space and, you know, all of the eating areas and the grills and stuff for kids and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm really glad I was able to fit that in. But that did mean that we ended up with 6 different apartments. So I do go over all of them in the tour at the end of the video because I have already recorded that. But I go over all of the apartments and I go over all of their prices and everything like that. So if you guys want to see that, stick around to the end. But basically for this, we have 6 apartments and there's 3 apartments on the first floor. They are all kind of like, they're all on the smaller side, you know, smaller, cheaper, more starter-ish apartments, I would say. I mean, the 2 on the side that I already started off with being furnished, those 2 are both starter apartments. So the one on the left is, I believe, under 20,000. The one on the right is actually under 12,000. And then we have this one, which is the one in the middle that I'm kind of making a little bit more expensive. I believe it's 20 something-ish thousand simoleons. So basically, you know, that would be like your Sims' second apartment, if that makes sense. So what I'm doing with this is I'm basically furnishing, like fully furnishing. And by fully furnishing, I mean going all out with detail and clutter and personalizing it, you know, all of that stuff. I'm doing that for 3 of the apartments. And then the other 3 apartments, I am furnishing. I'm not leaving them blank or anything like that. But I'm only putting in kind of the necessities. I'm not really going in and adding a lot of clutter or decorations or, you know, anything like that. I'm trying to make them look very much like, you know, like if you were to rent somewhere and, you know, rent it as fully furnished, but without any personality, basically. So maybe think like Airbnb, or if you rent a fully furnished apartment or something, and it's just like, it's furnished, but it's very generically furnished, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm trying to do that just to make sure that, you know, if you want to move in there and, you know, maybe you have Sims that you're not currently playing with, maybe they're like extended family or, you know, something like that, and you want them to live somewhere that is actually decorated and it's actually livable and looks, you know, semi-okay, doesn't look like a Max's house where there isn't a toilet, then, you know, you could move them into those apartments and you wouldn't feel bad moving them in there or like visiting them and, you know, going over to their place. So that was kind of my idea for those apartments. And then the other 3, I am like I said, going all out with. I'm fully decorating, personalizing, actually put a little bit of thought into who might live there and tried my best to make it look lived in and like, you know, just nice, just cute, and going a little bit more all out. So they are obviously a little bit more expensive, or a lot more expensive, depending on what your budget is. But basically, so we've already gone over the first floor, those 3 smaller apartments. The one on the left that I mentioned is under 20k, is actually a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom with twin beds in one of the rooms, so there's space for 4 Sims. The one in the middle that you guys saw me doing is a 1-bedroom, 1 bathroom, and then the one on the right is actually kind of like a studio apartment. So the bedroom, living room, dining room space is all one big room, and then the bathroom is just separate. Now on the second floor, which is actually where we are right now, I have 2 separate apartments. So I have 2 like family apartments, I guess you would say. The one that we're actually furnishing is a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment, but again, in the second bedroom I did end up putting twin beds, so there is again like space for 4 Sims, and the apartment is actually quite big. You could probably easily change up the layout of this apartment and fit in another 1 or 2 bedrooms if you really wanted to. I just didn't want to do that because I really like the way the layout turned out. I like the fact that the rooms are fairly large. There's a lot of space for Sims to move around in. The kitchen is probably my favorite part of this apartment. It's huge and has access to the balcony outside that we end up putting another dining table on and an art easel and, you know, just a fun little like kind of almost private space for this family. So that, you know, they don't just have the communal area downstairs, they actually have their own little balcony. Then the other apartment on this floor is actually, I believe, a 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment. So there's a main bedroom, there's another bedroom with twin beds, but for that one I furnished it a little bit more for like maybe a teenager and a child. There's 1 stuffed animal in that room that you could easily delete and turn it into just a teenager's bedroom. But like I said, those apartments I didn't go too heavy with for clutter and personalization. I just kind of made it functional, if that makes sense. So we have the main bedroom, we have the twin bedroom, and then I actually put in an infant bedroom as well. So I put in the smallest bedroom a crib and just some like toddler/infant toys and left it like that. There's also obviously, you know, kitchen, dining, living room, you know, all of that stuff. But yeah, so those are the second floor apartments, and then the last apartment that we're going to be working on after we do this little balcony space is actually going to be the third floor apartment, which basically, yeah, it takes up the entire third floor of this building. So in other words, it's kind of like the penthouse. It's basically the penthouse apartment. And that is actually going to be a 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom. They're all 1 bathrooms because realistically, most apartments that I've ever been in hasn't ever had more than 1 bathroom. They don't usually have more than 1 bathroom. So yeah, this is a 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom. You could actually make it a 4-bedroom. Because this room right next to the kitchen, that actually ends up being a office that I just put a couple of bookcases, a couch, and a desk in. But you could easily turn that into another bedroom because it's really big. I believe it's actually the exact same size as the 2 kids rooms that I have. So yeah, it could very easily be another bedroom, whether that's, I don't know, like a guest bedroom. It could make a very nice guest bedroom if you have growing together and you want to have like stayovers with the grandparents or whatever, or family members. That could be a very nice guest bedroom. It's kind of separated, or like it's basically a little bit separate from the other 3 bedrooms. So, you know, like I said, it could be a very nice guest bedroom. Or it could just be an office like I have it right now. Obviously, that is all up to you guys. You obviously don't have to keep these apartments as I have them. You're obviously totally free to change them up, change up the furniture, you know, add stuff, remove stuff, change up the layout, all of that stuff. You know, just don't re-upload this build and say that it's yours. But yeah, so for this apartment, it is obviously a lot bigger. It is a lot more expensive. I believe it's almost 69,000 simoleons. So yeah, it's definitely a lot more expensive. Definitely not a starter. And I did go a little bit heavier on the clutter because that's just me. And yeah, so I do have a very nice sized kitchen that we're working on right now. We also have a little breakfast nook, and then we have a huge living room that also is like an open plan living dining room. So I have a bigger dining room table. They also have a separate balcony, so that balcony at the front is all theirs. They're the only ones that have access to it. Out there I put another 4-seater dining table, I put some planter boxes, a grill, a little couch. So yeah, they also have their own little outdoor space. Then there's a bathroom that I didn't show me furnishing because they all look exactly the same. Then there's also obviously the main bedroom. And then for the kids' rooms, I actually went and I figured, you know, I kind of furnished it for a toddler, a child, and a teenager. So the toddler and the child actually share a bedroom. And then the bedroom at the front that has that little tiny, like I believe it's like a 2x5 square balcony. That one is actually connected to the teenager's bedroom. So they have their own bedroom, obviously, with a double bed, a desk, a dresser. And then they also have access to that little balcony that I put a couple of chairs on and an easel. So I figured, you know, maybe that teenager is, I don't know, like into art or whatever, and they go out there to paint or something. So this apartment can actually fit quite a few Sims. I mean, like it's 5 Sims. So yeah, if you have 2 parents, a toddler, child, and a teenager, it's 5 Sims. But like I said, you could also obviously make it more if you added like the 4th bedroom. Or if you have maybe like a young adult child and they have a partner, they could obviously, you know, be 2 in that bedroom because both sides of the bed are accessible. So you could have 2 Sims in there. So you could have 4 Sims. So yeah, it's a very nice sized apartment, I actually think. And I figured, you know, if I were to play in this build, I would probably have the people that own this building living in this apartment because it is the nicest one. Why would you rent out the nicest apartment if you could just live in it yourself? So yeah, that was my whole thought process behind that. And I was thinking, you know, that this would be part of my land grab rentals series. So I haven't fully decided if I am going to call it that or not, but I have decided to do a little, like, I don't want to say mini series because it's not going to be mini because we're going to have a lot of these builds, but I'm going to be doing a series where I build a rental lot or a residential rental, as they're actually called, in each of the worlds that we have, using only the base game, the new pack, so for rent, and then also whatever pack that, you know, that world came with. So for Willow Creek, I'm going to use only the base game and this pack. But for Windenburg, for example, I'm going to use the base game for rent and then also get together because that's the pack that Windenburg came in, obviously. So I'm going to be doing that over the course of the next, hopefully, just couple of weeks and not months. Hopefully I will finish it before that. But yeah, so I figured that was what we're going to do. And I did think that, you know, the land grabs, being the land grabs, would be the ones that own this. So I'm kind of thinking about going with the name Land Grab Rentals or Land Grab Rental Empire. I'm not exactly sure. But obviously you guys will know what I have decided when you look at the title, because I will make sure to put it in the title of all of these videos. Kind of like I do with my save file builds, where I have them all as like rebuild Willow Creek or rebuild Newcrest or whatever, just to make them easier to find and so that I can put them in the correct playlists and all of that stuff. I will make a playlist for this project as well, obviously. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're actually working on the last couple of things. We're working on the teenager's bedroom right now. And then we're going to go ahead and do the toddler's bedroom, toddler/child's bedroom. And then the, like, almost a nursery, not nursery, the office, and then the little balcony. But if you guys notice that the toddler room, or like the kids room, the study and the balcony come together really quickly, if you notice that, or if it seems like that, it's because I had to redo them. I actually built them and forgot to hit record somehow, and I only noticed that when I went to finish off the balcony, so I had to delete most of the items in them and do it again. So yeah, if it seems like I know exactly what I'm placing and where, it's because I did it again. I needed to do it twice. So yeah, just bear with me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're actually going to go ahead and jump on into the game, and I'm going to give you a better look at this whole place, show you the other apartments that I didn't show you in the speed build. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you know, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, the notification bell, all of that fun YouTube stuff. I'm actually tripping over my words and feel like I've forgotten my own outro. But yeah, with all of that said, we're gonna go ahead, jump on into the game, and take a look at this place. So here we are with the finished build, and yeah, this is what it looks from the outside. I apologize if I sound a little bit all over the place. I'm recording this before I actually do the voiceover of the speed build, so yeah, just bear with me. But yeah, so this is the outside of our big, colorful, kind of like, I don't know, would you call this townhouses, or would they be called maybe like just an apartment building or whatever? But anyway, so these are our colorful apartments. I cannot speak. But I wanted, obviously, to make this build a little bit bigger than any of the other builds that I've been doing that you guys haven't seen yet, because I think this is the first speed build you're going to see. But yeah, so we have, as you come up, obviously right at the front, we have a couple of bikes in the bike rack. Those are just debug. I have a little marbles thing that your Sims kids can play with. Obviously, I have a bunch of different mailboxes outside because, you know, useful. And the way that these apartments are laid out, they do all have like separate entryways. But first off, going around this corner, we have a little hopscotch court. We have a couple of tables over here on the lawn for your Sims to sit and eat. I have a games table, a grill over there, just some landscaping, obviously. We have a nice big pool area, which is why I don't like this apartment building. It's not fancy by any means, but it has a very nice like community space. So there's a big pool, there's lounge chairs, there's a hot tub over at the back, there's another grill back there as well with another little table. We have kind of like a little gathering space in here. Now this is all undercover, so if you do have seasons and it rains or whatever, your Sims can still gather there and they won't like get wet or anything. But we have a little seating space, we have a little jukebox over there, a nice bar, and just a bunch of like fun artwork and all of that stuff, which I love the way this looks. I love the way this turned out. Then going around the back, we actually have some signage, you know, to tell you that this is where the trash area is. So this is where your Sims would come to take up their trash, all of that stuff. This is also where you can access the kind of like utility room. So we have some decorative utility things. This is just a non-functional electrical box and a non-functional water heater. But we do have some functional ones as well that your Sims, you know, that will break, that will be needing to be repaired, all of that stuff. I also put in a like fire prevention system. So if there's a fire, you know, sprinklers will go on. And then going around the back some more, we have a kind of like, not really tranquility garden or anything like that, but, you know, just a nice quieter space, I guess you could say, away from the pool and, you know, away from where the kids would probably play, all of that stuff. I have a little like spirit house in back here that came with the new pack. And then I also put in kind of like a little community garden space. So your Sims can come here, they can plant some things, all of that stuff. And this is set as a shared space, obviously. So like anyone can like come and visit and use this area. And this just loops right around again to the front. Now, starting on the front, we're going to start off, you know, let's start off on the left. Going through these green doors, we have some more mailboxes because this obviously does lead upstairs. But in here, we have a fairly like nicely furnished. Not nicely furnished, but for some of these apartments I went a little bit heavier with decoration than for others. And I did that on purpose because I wanted some of them to be a little bit more decorated, like they're almost for specific Sims. I didn't have any Sims in mind, but you know. And then some of them are actually a little bit more basic. So they do have all of the basics in them that you would need, but they're not fully decorated, if that makes sense. Just to make them a little bit cheaper to move into if you start off with like a starter budget or something. And also just to make it easier to play in. If you don't want to like have a fully furnished apartment and want to like furnish it yourself, you can do that. So I'm going to turn on the apartment overlays so we can see which apartment is which. Now this is one 𝐂𝐀 Rockside. I didn't rename them to anything else. I just kept the lot name. And this one is actually only worth 15,000 simoleons. That is fully furnished. So you could move in here with just a single sim on a starter budget. And it actually is set up with obviously a little living space. They have a TV, they have a little dining space, they have a bathroom. Quite a nice sized kitchen, you know. They have a fridge, a dishwasher, sink, stove. They even have a little kettle as well. And then they actually have 2 bedrooms. So they have a twin bedroom and a double bedroom. I did playtest it so that they can access both sides of the bed. So yeah, it's just a little small like 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment. Only 15,000 simoleons, which is great. Now let's just do the first floor first. Now going in through the blue door, we have a little separate little apartment over here. This is just a 1 bedroom apartment. But it is a little bit more decorated than the other one, than the first one. This is the 2 𝐂𝐀 Rockside. It's 25,900 and something simoleons. So it is a little bit more expensive. And this would probably be more of like, maybe like your Sims' second apartment. Or maybe, you know, they just got together with a significant other that's moved in and they have a little bit more money now, so they can move out. But yeah, so this is a little bit more decorated. We have basically the same sized living room, but they have a fancier TV. They have obviously some more decorations. They have a small dining table. They have kind of fancier kitchen appliances. Most of them have like, not the cheapest, but like the second cheapest appliances. Whereas this one actually has some fairly expensive kitchen appliances like stove and fridge. They have the more expensive kettle as well, but they also have a dishwasher. All of the apartments have dishwashers. And yeah, so it's a little bit more decorated, a little bit more fancy. They also have a little bit of a bigger bathroom as well. And then they do have quite a nice sized main bedroom where they have a computer in it. Obviously, one of the new beds, or like the only new bed actually. They also have a little dresser over there, and that is basically it for the second apartment. Now, the third one is the one that you access through the red door, and this is the 3 𝐂𝐀 Rockside, and this is, I think, the cheapest one out of all of the apartments, and I'm thinking that's just because I think it's like the smallest as well. It's only 50 tiles, whereas the other 2 have been, what, like 90 tiles and 60 tiles. So it is the smallest one, and it's also a studio apartment. So there's no separate living room space or bedroom. It's all one big room, and just the bathroom is separate. But it also isn't very decorated at all. They don't even have a kettle. So yeah, they do have a bathroom, obviously. But right as you come in, you have a little dining space where there's a dresser. They have their kitchen, so they do have a dishwasher, sink, stove, all of that stuff. Then they have a bed over in this corner, and they have a TV that they can watch from bed. But that is basically it for this apartment. I figured this would be great if you're starting maybe like a legacy or something, or you know, you start off with a sim that has like less than 20,000 simoleons, and you know, this is less than 12,000 simoleons. So you're like, a single sim on a starter budget could easily move in there. So yeah, those are the 3 first floor apartments. But going back to the left and through this green door, you go upstairs. We have a nice little hallway entryway that I did try and put some useful items in their hallways and stuff. So this one has a chess table in it. But this is one of the bigger apartments. So the first floor, 3 like smaller apartments. Second floor has 2 bigger apartments, like family apartments. This one is the one that is a little bit more decorated and like more detailed, I guess you would say. But you come in and you have a nice big living room space. We have a little desk nook over there. I did playtest it. Your Sims can get through there to access the bookshelf. They can use the computer, all of that stuff. But yeah, going through this way, they have obviously a hallway that leads you to the bedrooms and the bathroom. But they also have a very, very nice sized kitchen. Like, this is actually a huge kitchen. So they have like a central dining table. They have also the fancier appliances. They have fancier stove, fridge, all of that stuff. They have a like slow cooker over there. They have dishwasher, sink, microwave, kettle, all of that stuff. And I did put in some kids clutter, like the lunch boxes and stuff. And through the kitchen, you can actually access their own balcony. So they do have their own balcony. Currently, it's set as shared, and I don't know why. It is actually supposed to be set as part of this apartment. So yeah, it's supposed to be a balcony for this specific apartment. But this is the 4, like the number 4. It's like 53, 54-ish thousand simoleons. If you want to purchase it furnished, so definitely not a starter. But they have another little dining table out here. They have an art easel, some seating. I put in a couple of these like juice drink trays on some of the little small tables, both up here and as well like down here as well for like the community to access. But yeah, going back inside, they have a very nice sized bathroom, double sinks, shower, freestanding bathtub, obviously toilet, or like one of the new squat toilets. I did put in this hose pipe from the base game, this wall mounted garden hose, and I just sized it down a couple of times. And I did that because I believe it was Luddy Simmer, who's also part of the Creator Network. They actually told us, like, I asked them about this when I was building it, and they actually, like, I asked, you know, if you would use toilet paper or if you would have toilet paper in bathrooms with these squat toilets, because I've never seen them. I've like never seen them in movies. I haven't seen them in real life. It's just I have never seen them. So they actually said you wouldn't. You would actually have some sort of like bidet or like little like hose to use when you're using these toilets. So that's the closest thing that I could find. And they also said that they were going to use it in their builds. So, you know, I was very grateful for their help with that one. So that is why a lot of my builds, or like probably all of my builds, if I can remember, if I use the squat toilets, I will try and include that little like detail in them as well. But yeah, so back out onto the hallway, we have a little bonsai tree, and then we have 2 bedrooms. So we have the main bedroom. That's quite a nice big size. It has its own like little office space or like desk space basically. Some double dressers, mirror, like chair, all of the regular bedroom stuff. And then we have a shared kids bedroom that I thought, you know, maybe one of them would be a teenager, maybe one of them would be a child, or they're both children. Either way, doesn't matter. But yeah, so we have this little corner over here. They have their own dresser, and then this one has their own dresser as well. Some kids' toys, you know, as you would expect. I also put a little marbles thing right in the middle of their bedroom, so maybe, you know, they can play over there. And that is basically it for this apartment. Now, the other one on the second floor is actually accessible through this door, so through the red door. So you can go upstairs, very big hallway. There's a games table up here and, you know, just some decorations. But this one is actually a 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. Not 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom, sorry. Yeah, 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. And I did decorate it, I did furnish it, but it's, again, one of those more kind of basic apartments. So you can go in, you can add more detail, you can add more decorations, but I didn't want to go over the top with detailing, and I wanted to keep it on the cheaper side so that you could go in yourself and do that and personalize it. So this is the 5 Rokkaya Rockside. It's actually 108 tiles and it's only 21,400 simoleons. So you could almost buy this with a starter budget. If you had 2 Sims, for example, you would already be able to afford this entire apartment furnished. And you would have a lot of space to expand. So you come in, you have the dining table right at the front door We have a bookshelf, a little small living room space. I did put in a toddler high chair for the infant that I did furnish one of the bedrooms for. But they have a nice kitchen, you know, a lot of space to add stuff to the counters. Going over this way, we have the one bathroom. They do have a shower tub combo because I figured, you know, if they have a toddler or an infant or children, having a bathtub would be very useful. And then right here at the front, I actually put in another like twin bedroom, but I figured this one would be for a child and a teenager. So I kind of tried to reflect like a little bit more of a mature teenage color scheme. So we have like blue and reds. I didn't want to put in too many toys or clutter or childish things, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is the teenager slash child's bedroom. Then going back around this way, right off of the entryway, we actually have the infant's bedroom. Again, not super cluttered, but still quite nice. You know, very easy to add to like change up the furniture, swap out the crib for a bed, all of that stuff. And then we just have the main bedroom as well, which again, fully play tested. It all works. They can get everywhere, all of that stuff. But that is it for this apartment. And the last apartment that we have is the third floor, basically like a penthouse is what I would call it. And you get to it from this entryway. You go upstairs again. They have kind of like their own private entry. This is shared obviously, but it's kind of like their private entry. And then they have their very big like three-story, like not three-story, but third floor apartment. What am I saying? It is another 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom. It could be a 4-bedroom, but I just furnished it as a 3-bedroom, and it's another like fully furnished one. So you come in and you have a little chest table. You have obviously place for your shoes, your coats, all of that stuff. There's a little hallway table. Going to this side, we actually have a very nice sized kitchen. I'm going to turn off the overlays for a second because it's hurting my head. And yeah, so we have very nice sized kitchen. Again, fancier appliances and, you know, more decorations, all of that stuff. But I love the way this kitchen looks. And over here, we have some bar seating. We have a little like kind of like breakfast space, if you will. So they have that, and then they have a more formal, fancier, bigger dining table. But yeah, I figured this would be more than enough space for them. They have another little infant or toddler high chair. And then they also have access to their own private balcony that is a little bit bigger. It's the biggest one in the build. They have their own planter boxes, their own grill, another dining table outside that they can enjoy. And then going around this way, we have, like I said, the more formal, bigger dining room table. We have a jukebox. We have a very nice sized living room. Very big, a lot of space to move around in, put the toddler or infant down in. But yeah, so we have the living room over there. Then this is the bedroom, or like the room that I said could be a 4th bedroom. But currently I just have it set up as an office. Maybe one of the parents works from home, or they're like a writer or something. So there's a lot of books. There's a little couch, a little chair, and a writing desk, or just a desk. And that is basically it. But it could be a 4th bedroom if you needed another one. And going back around this way, we have 2 bedrooms over there, but I'm going to show you the bathroom first. This one has another shower tub combo. We have double sinks, toilet. I even put down a little toddler potty as well. One of the new, like the new toddler potty that came with a pack that kind of just looks like a chamber pot. I have that. And then going around this way, we have the main bedroom right at the front of the apartment. So looking out towards like the road and stuff. So we have the main bedroom, double like closets, mirror, big bed, you know, all of the regular main bedroom stuff. And then the first bedroom over here is actually what I furnished to be a teenager's bedroom. It's probably a little bit more cluttered than I probably should have made it. But they have their own desk with a computer. They have a guitar. Maybe they're into music and art and stuff like that, which I could definitely see happening with, you know, how bright and colorful their bedroom is. Maybe these are paintings that they did themselves. But they have a nice bed, double bed. They have their own balcony as well. So it just has some chairs on it and a little art easel. Yeah, so we have a nice teenager's room. And then the other bedroom is actually for a child and a toddler. So overall, this apartment could sleep what? Like, you know, 2 parents, a teenager, a child, and a toddler. That's like 5 Sims. Or maybe if this is for a young adult, rather than a teenager. They could also have their partner, so you could have like 6 Sims in here if you wanted to, more if you converted the other room into a bedroom. But yeah, so we have a little kids corner over there, and then we have a little toddler bed with some more toys and, you know, all of that fun stuff. But that is basically it for this entire build, you guys. This apartment upstairs, by the way, before I forget, it's around 240 tiles and it costs almost like 69,000 simoleons. So it's expensive. But again, it's the biggest apartment and it's also supposed to be a fully furnished apartment. But yeah, let me just turn on the outlines and all of that stuff for you. So this is a shot of the upstairs with the grid and like floor plan, all of that stuff. Then we have the second floor with the 2 family apartments, and then the first floor with the 3 smaller apartments as well. And this build probably, yeah, this, when you're seeing it, it won't be up on the gallery yet, but it will be up on the gallery as soon as the pack is out. So I'm thinking around maybe like the, I will have early access on the 5th. Obviously, I mean the regular early access where I have it in my normal game where I can access the gallery. This is obviously an early version of the game, which is why my name is floating around, all of that stuff. I physically cannot access the gallery. It says not available in this build, and by build they mean like build of the game. I cannot access the gallery at all. So once I have this build and my saves in my normal game and I can access the gallery, I will upload this build and then I will add the download link to the description as always. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this build. Sorry I haven't been posting as many speed builds, but life has been very hectic. I probably will speak more about it in the speed build voiceover portion. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you know, give the video a like, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more Sims content, you know, do all of that fun YouTube things, turn on the notification bell to be notified of whenever I upload, and all of that fun stuff. Hope you're all having a great day, and I will talk to you all in my very next video. Bye everyone.